Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Civ Show podcast. We suck, so you don't have to. I'm your host, Moisos,
Raising Zozo.
And Nystagmus.
and it is patch day, my dudes. It's Thursday, which means it's patch day, which is nice though, because usually they release it on at midnight on Thursday, but they released it at noon instead today. I don't know if the intern maybe mixed up AM for PM, but it's released. We got patch notes and we got the juicy deets here for you. Do we just go right into it, or like
just do it, Moy? Jump into it.
Yeah, man, just do it live. Screw it. There we go. Okay, let's bring up the browser here real quick. I should probably have done that first.
Well, I guess the new feature, the big one, is the Civ Tech and Civic Shuffle game mode, I guess, right?
I'm really excited about that, to be completely honest with you. I think that's probably one of the most... I look forward to this the most out of everything in this patch, which is weird. And another thing, which we'll get to.
It does add like a certain randomness that I think will be a lot of fun. Because you don't know exactly what you're going to get, and that, like, I like luck sometimes with Civilization. So
the way it works, in case you are curious, is that in the same era. Sorry, let me start over. The techs and civics all get shuffled around in the tree, and they're all not revealed to you until the previous one, the prerequisite, is acquired. All the prerequisites are the same, however, you don't know where they are in the tree. The limitation here is that it stays within the same era. So you're not going to get computers in the ancient era. That doesn't make any sense. So all the ancient era techs and civs are still in the ancient era, just you don't know which one you're going to get first. So that's the difference here. And I think it's really interesting because then you don't have I know, kind of like our little meta is just rush for whatever your special unit is, or rush for knights, or rush for computers even, to make sure that...
it makes it harder to do, right?
Yeah, it's a lot harder to do. So you need to be more consistent with your science. So it's not just like have 50 science while everyone has 100, but you're keeping up in military, so you're good. You really need to like keep up all the time. Just be on the ball at all times. So I think it's a interesting dynamic. Do you think we're gonna try this maybe for our community day?
I think whenever there's something new, that should be our default for a new game. So we'll give it a go. I honestly think we should have all the game modes on and just go passion to the wind for our community game.
Oh, for the community game,
yeah.
All modes on.
All of it. Apocalypse and secret societies and random everything. I think that'd make for a great game.
Okay.
And then we could draft for the next part. We could actually draft some wonders. Maybe like people submit the ones they want.
I could put a poll on Discord of like vote for the list of whatever. Vote for the list of wonders, and they can all vote which ones they want in the game. Okay, I like that.
Well, here's an idea. We'll let them vote, and then on game day we'll draw them randomly.
Well, yeah, we'll throw in the ones they voted for, and then we got to throw in the ones that like the ones that were whispered to you in your dream. Yeah.
Triple secret ballad on probation. That one's got to go in. No one can know about that one.
No one can know about that one. And obviously, you need to add the meme of Cliffs of Dover. That needs to go in there too. Like you can't not include Cliffs of Dover. It's just you have to. So what we're getting at, in case you didn't know, now you can pick your natural wonders that are in the game. So I'm going to read this just how exactly it's read. Sick of Bermuda Triangle? Want to break the delicate arch? In advanced setup, you can now bring up a new menu to choose which natural wonders you would like to include in your next game. Wonders checked are not guaranteed to be in your next game. Rather, they are part of the pool of wonders that will then be randomly selected and placed. So, how I understand that, you pick 10, 5 of them will show up in your game, something like that. But at least you can say, like, I don't want Bermuda Triangle at all, or I don't want Cliffs of Dover at all. I only want one of these random ones. I don't know about you guys. I have not memorized the natural wonders and what they do. Technically, I just find a lot of them overrated.
I have not done that. Nope. I try to do it for my era score. That's
just find it for your era score.
Yeah,
The only one I
that's
know
the
about,
goal.
I don't even know the name of it, but it's the one where that when you go inside of it, you get like +5 combat strength. That one's really the only one I care about. Otherwise, none of them matter to me.
Don't like the Bermuda Triangle where you can just warp
That
somewhere.
one's silly.
That one's silly.
That one's silly. Sorry, hokey. It's hokey.
You thought vampires were hokey too until you tried
I,
it, though.
I just because I think something's hokey doesn't mean I don't think it's fun. Like teleporting to a random place is cool. I love that it's like 10 science, and you're like, how would I ever use this? Like, how do I get the 10 science? Like, there's no islands anywhere close to this. I think that's part of its frustration.
Not with that attitude.
Yeah,
You
not with
gotta
that
have a
attitude.
positive attitude, man.
Yeah, come on.
That's how you get the science.
I did see a post on, I think it was Reddit or it was on Discord, I can't remember, that they were playing the Maori and the Bermuda Triangle was actually on the coast because they were playing like archipelago, so there's no ocean,
Right,
it's all
right.
coast, and they captured the entire every tile of the
Wow.
Bermuda Triangle, so they had
Wow.
a ton of science.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
That would be
Or
so
if
cool.
it's hinting that one of the new districts maybe they'll introduce is like a water city, like for a future tech.
Yes!
You know, maybe. Let's build it beside this anomaly.
Capture the alien technology at the bottom of the Bermuda Triangle.
I miss when you can build sea cities back in like Civ 3 or Civ 2, whichever the first one I played
It was one of the additions
Yeah.
it was like one of the expansions let you build in the ocean.
Yeah, and they also let you build in space. Like you go to space and you can build settlements in space too. That was the coolest one. That was the very first one I played.
And if they don't do like something like that where it's an underwater city, Wonderland, whatever, Atlantis, maybe at least let you have it. You could create an island, because that's something we can do. We can create artificial islands, like China's doing that right now to claim the North Sea. They're building a bunch of artificial islands. So maybe we'll see something like that. Yeah.
So then, I guess next thing is they talk about the balance now, right? They've changed some of the things, right? So interesting.
I like a polish. They gave it a good polishing.
The amenities and city thresholds for content to happy and stuff like that. So I think they made it easier, right? Like it's harder to be ecstatic, but it's easier to be content. Does that seem right from what I've gathered from it?
Because it's -1 instead of 0.
Yeah, -1. Yeah. Like you don't need as many amenities to maintain just like a neutral position.
Yeah. So I also think they changed it's harder to achieve ecstatic. So in turn, it kind of indirectly buffs Scotland and it indirectly buffs the Mayans. Like people who get really easy luxuries or thrive off of high amenities, or not thrive necessarily, but like who get a lot of amenities anyway. Those people get like an indirect buff because everyone else is harder to get ecstatic. But they, like Mayans, if you settle near a luxury, you get that +1 amenity anyway. You can get really, really ecstatic cities by settling right beside 2 luxuries, right? And that's just an easy way for you to get an ecstatic city. So you're getting the +10 or whatever, the +20% to your yields, but everyone else it's so much harder to get. So just indirectly you're feeling that buff by everyone else getting that nerf kind of deal. That's what I'm getting at.
Are you suggesting that the rising tide lifts all boats?
No, the rising tide sinks all ships.
There you go. I like that even better.
Oh, thanks.
Okay.
Got it up in the spot.
So so happy and ecstatic minimum. So now you need 5 to make them happy or ecstatic.
Yeah.
However, they're not going to be at -1. They'll still be content. So okay, that's an interesting trade-off.
But interesting note. So the golf course specifically got buffed. +1 amenity.
Increase amenity by 1. What does it do normally?
I think it's just golden amenity. I think it's all it gave for Scotland. You can verify that for me.
Yeah, I'm looking that up.
Now they increased the amenity just so that Scotland can still reach that ecstatic threshold, so that their bonus is still possible to get to. I think that's why they did that, since they're so dependent on
So
being an ecstatic city.
right, yeah. So normally it's +1 amenity. So now it's +2 amenity, and then +2 gold, +1 appeal, so on and so forth.
Yeah, dude, I want to play
And
Scotland. I want to play
it's
Scotland.
built by the builder.
Like now,
So
like now the theater square gets adjacency bonuses now from the entertainment complex and the water park.
Yes, that's huge. That is huge. But also, it's also the like there's a culture bonus. Yeah, I don't know. What did you say? Amenity bonus? I'm sorry.
No, the theater square gets gets an adjacency bonus.
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be next to a
So
wonder. Yeah,
that's
awesome.
cool if like because like entertainment complex is a dumpster fire of a district in my opinion. So build one of them and then you can probably get a bunch of adjacent like right beside it. So that makes it that you'll want to build that one a little bit more.
And also, yeah, you want to build entertainment complexes more because, like,
Yeah.
now that's just kind of an easier way to get your adjacency bonus rather than building a wonder. Because sometimes there's a lot of games where I don't build any wonders. Whether you're playing on deity difficulty and it's impossible to get a wonder before a computer, or you're playing against Zoe and he already builds them all. It's impossible sometimes to get wonders. And so, an easy way just to kind of bypass that, build an entertainment complex or a water park, get your culture next to it, or get your entertainment district next to it. Easy, +2 culture. Love that change. Absolutely love that change. Moving on.
And with government plazas added 2 new little buffs. So your grand chapel now gets you a +5 faith, which is cool. So like now you actually have some extra faith to build with.
Dude, I'm so surprised they buffed that. That was already such a strong building.
Yeah, well, it was less that it was strong and just it had great utility because there's just a point in the game that if you pursued faith, that it kind of becomes useless when especially when great people get to a point where like, all right, I'm not buying anything with that. And I always go grand. I love being able to buy military units with faith. So fantastic. I like that.
I pretty much go
with
almost every game too. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I'm even if I'm making like 2 or 3 faith, if I can buy 1 or 2 units with that faith that accumulated over time, it's worth it for me because then that's just money in my pocket because I don't have to spend the money or the production, right?
Right. And there's so many things now that affect faith that like you want that. You're like if you're the Void Singers, you want to have a super faith.
Oh yeah.
So, and then +3 diplomatic favor from foreign ministry is nothing to laugh at, especially. There does come a point in the game, especially if you've taken over a capital, where you start losing diplomatic, or just from pollution, where you start losing diplomatic favor. So, little boosts like that.
Once you take a capital, you're not getting plus diplomatic
You're not
favor
getting,
anymore.
yeah.
There's no point in building this foreign ministry.
Yeah.
Like,
You
it's
made
still
the
gonna be
choice, but
pointless.
that's why I think Alice of Minerva is so awesome because I think in the end you get enough diplomatic favor to be a warmonger because of all the city states that love you, and it's just it's why I was saying like it lets you pursue domination and diplomacy if you wanted to.
Oh, that's where that came from. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I understand.
It's a big part of it.
It's weird. Like one should like exclude the other, right?
Yeah, you'd think, but I
like
think that's the irony. That's what's cool about them. I think that the secret societies are supposed to be a kind of a like a paradox.
It's your way in to be evil.
I think secret societies are just supposed to be like, here's just like some curveballs into the game. Like half of them are magic, right? Like ley lines and vampires, and then
yeah.
Right?
Ley lines aren't the magic. That's just a bad magician's way to tell you that they have no idea what they're doing.
It's they have an alchemy thing. Like that's like what people are like. Hey man, I can make gold from lead. That's like the whole idea, right? It's supposed to be magic. I can make gold from lead.
Their magic sucks.
Alchemists, though, but like historically, alchemists, like if you were a famous alchemist, like you would get tons of money, and you would just move from city to city before people realized, you're not really producing it. And it'd be with parlor tricks, but at the same time, you were doing cool looking experiments. So that huckstery, I think there would have been produced a little bit of science. There would have been some trial and error science there.
I just don't like the Hermetic Order at all. They're so terrible.
Yeah, we know how you feel about them.
I have people agreeing with me now that
Excuse me,
like
sorry.
they'd rather
Yeah.
take the 4 governor points for free versus taking Hermetic Order, and like thank God, because they're terrible.
Well, you still get the governor points even if you pick a society right away.
Yeah, but you don't spend it on the Hermetic Order. That's the trick.
But
Don't do it.
Have you? Okay, not that you guys.
I'm super. Well, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. So go ahead.
I was going to ask, have you guys noticed that there's a bit of a glitch with the Hermetic Order? It doesn't always trigger because it's supposed to be 100%, and it's not.
Oh, yeah,
I've had
yeah,
where I find Natural Wonder, and that's really really annoying, especially if Natural Wonders are.
Q Moy to be like, see, they even suck that way. They don't even follow the stupid like.
But like, I wonder who put that there that it's 100%. Maybe it's not 100%.
Yeah, I'm thinking
maybe it's 90%. Maybe that the wiki it could possibly be incorrect. Is my thought. And the only way to know would be, I guess, to ask the developers directly.
Bold
Like, is
claim
this?
that you think the wiki's wrong. Bold claim.
I'm just saying. What could it be? The wiki says 100%, meaning that if you find a natural wonder, you automatically get one. I've had many times where I do not automatically get one. So what gives? You know. That's obviously not 100%, right?
100%.
I don't know.
But is it really?
100%. I don't know.
Really?
I don't know.
Is it?
Seriously.
60% of the time, 100%.
60% of the time, 100% of the time. Yeah, that's true.
Watch them to come
I-
up with a tweet that just says that, and I'd be so mad.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited about, or pretty happy about the changes to the Apocalypse game mode, though.
We're not there yet. Hold on, we're not there yet.
Okay,
So-
I know. I'm excited to talk about it because I'm super
I
happy
know.
about it.
But one of the biggest changes I've heard is that the naturalist unit, it has reduced costs. So it used to cost like 1,200 or something like that, something stupid expensive, or 800 or something like that. Now they reduced the cost to 600, and they increased the purchase for by 100 for every naturalist that you purchase. But this kind of goes in line with Teddy would be very, very powerful. Bull Moose Teddy with all of his natural parks, and even Canada with their natural parks, they can have it all over their land.
Did Teddy really need a buff?
It wasn't.
No.
It's like an indirect buff.
Really?
The Bull Moose Teddy though. It's Bull Moose Teddy. Although I think he's still really good, regardless. And now he's even better.
Just saying.
This is also good for Brazil because they often have swaths of untouched rainforest.
Yeah, and their rainforest gives it plus appeal instead of minus appeal.
Yeah, it might be good for the Maori too, right? Because Maori don't. Want
Maori too. Yeah, absolutely. So this is going to be interesting. Like naturalists are usually expensive, and you get them at what, conservation?
Yes.
That is advanced game. Sometimes those are just not around. A triangle worth of squares. So I don't find myself using them very often.
Neither do I, because honestly, it's so hard to not upgrade a tile and to save it to make a national park. The only way I do that is if I settle next to a natural wonder, because I know the appeal of those tiles are going to be good, and you can't work them usually anyway, or you can't upgrade them anyway. So then it's like, okay, now I can use this for a national park. That's the only way I usually get them in any game ever.
Right.
What else do they do? Appeal stat has been added to traits section of the district's terrains, improvements, and features Civilpedia pages. Okay. I don't really know. I don't know what is that?
Appeal stat has been added to the trait section. So I guess in the Civilpedia pages, you can look up the appeal stat, and it'll tell you for each district what it does. So maybe it wasn't because remember, not all the information's on the Civilpedia. So maybe now it officially is.
Oh, okay.
And then they also fixed, and I've had this before too, the issue that prevented apostles from receiving all available promotions. So where you build that wonder, I think it unlocks all of them, and I've had that for some reason I don't get all of them, or that sometimes I get them cut off. Like there's only 2 available. It's like, okay, why? I don't. you know. So maybe they fix that too.
All right, Nystagmus, take it away. I know you want to talk about this.
Oh no, just for the apocalypse game mode. Reduced volcanic activity. Like, thank God that they did that. Like, it got pretty ridiculous at some point. Like, I don't know how many times I kept repairing a district and it just like kept getting blown up by a volcano as soon as I was finished repairing it. Or like I've had like a volcano eruption happen, then I go in to try to get the extra yields, and then another volcano erupts and kills my worker. Right? Like, it was too much. It was too much. Like, I get
it did. The volcanic activity on it was pretty crazy.
And reducing the frequency of like request aid is a good idea too, because that got just like every turn was just like, hey man, that happened to me. Let me like give me more stuff.
It made diplomatic victories a lot easier to achieve in apocalypse mode. I think they did that because of that directly, to make it harder for diplomatic victory. Yeah, they tuned it down. But also the interesting change is that they added CO2 production when you're
to
using
the soothsayer action. So what, do they like convert CO2 into something?
No, they kill a unit and they produce CO2. It's like,
oh my god, it's like a pollution
CO2 in the world. Yeah, you that burn is like the body mad. And the ashes get put into the world, and you polluted the world.
That's
to
like
be fair though,
stuff,
like
man.
when it's like for causing a disaster, that kind of makes sense, right? Like,
yeah. That's pollution, though. That's cool. That's like Mad Max. That's what that reminds me of.
So it'd be funny that if you're losing, you just make a bunch of soothsayers and you just start blowing up volcanoes over and over and over and over again.
Let's face it, though, it wasn't hard to get to like the last level in Apocalypse.
Yeah, but I feel like you can do it a lot quicker now with this. Or at least
make meteors should start destroying everything like around like 1100 AD or something.
Hey, it may happen. It may happen. I almost guarantee that if this game mode is on during our community game, there's gonna be people dedicated to just getting faith and polluting the world, just to watch everyone suffer.
Yeah.
I may even.
Yeah. Oh my god. meteors destroy entire sections of land. Like.
Do we lose them?
You know, it's a big hole in the ocean now.
We lost you halfway through that. I don't know what you said.
And then, oh, you lost me?
No, me? No, I got you now. I just halfway through you cut out. Yeah,
can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just the excitement that a meteor wipes a city from the face of the earth, like literally becomes a giant hole. So, a very good weapon to use indeed. And then the forest fire jungles remain burnt longer now. So, fun.
So, it looks... we're having like a little chat in our Discord. I think we all forgot to start Audacity, but...
what? No, mine's going.
Oh, it must be nice. I forgot to start my Audacity, so I'll start it now.
Yay!
I like freaked out because I was like, oh wait, I knew I forgot something. And I think it's because I'm the one who's usually like, hey man, do you guys all get Audacity? Audacity's ready, and I didn't do it this time.
Just start it now. And I'll use the video, audio. It'll be bad, but that's fine. I'll put a disclaimer before the episode that the audio may not be the best.
Moy was so excited, ladies and gentlemen, about today's patch notes that he just fumbled through, and now he's picked up the ball and he's going for the touchdown.
I think Moy has done great things for the show with the hard work he does behind the scenes. So this was a team.
Let the ball
falter.
I dropped the ball.
I did too. It's okay. So team effort there. We both dropped the ball.
Game
cool.
7 and Kawhi missed the shot instead. Game changing. Toronto doesn't win anymore. Like
well,
that was
that's
me.
it.
Drop the ball. All right, so also forest fires now remain in the burnt state longer. Yay.
Yeah.
All right, so AI changes. This will be interesting. AI changes. Here we go.
This is big, and I hope it's good. And I hope the AI is like good and smart.
Well, they're still going to make questionable choices, like accumulating cultists and not doing anything. Like they didn't mention any of that, obviously, but this is something that I've noticed that the AI does, and it frustrated me to no end. Now they fixed it. So they added some bias towards getting governments with lots of wild card slots, which means they actually upgrade their government to tier 4, which they never did before, right? Or in the third point here, I'm just going to go ahead and skip to the third point. Increased desire for civics that unlock new governments. Capped the desire for theology for high faith income civs. Thank God. Because Gandhi being on theology literally all game is one of the most frustrating things I've ever played, because he sends you so many apostles and missionaries, and you're trying to fight them with your own apostles and missionaries, and theirs are always way stronger than yours because he always has theology. And it's like 2022 AD, and he still has theology. It's ridiculous.
And it always like led to like conflict later at the game for like no good reason, because like you don't have the same government as them, right? Eventually you upgrade past them, and then they get all upset that you have like a different government. How dare you be democratic when I'm a monarchy? And so I guess it kind of brings it more forward that it might be more ideological differences at the end. Like instead of like, because you're monarchy and I'm a democracy, it's more of like communism versus, you know, totalitarianism or democracy and stuff like that. Those kind of differences, like more in line historically.
That'd be cool
that occurred, right?
In line historically, yeah. Yeah. If like the more militaristic civs went to like fascism and stuff, like Shaka, for example, or I can't think of anything.
So if and I thought they would have done this if they make that the policy choices a reflection of their agendas, which I would have assumed they do. But yeah, we'll see more level 4 governments. We'll see what they do. I
like one of their big patch notes here. Various AI
I find that so that is annoying. Seriously,
PR stunt if I've ever seen one right there.
Yeah, come on, Sid.
They don't suck anymore. We promise.
Just like even if it's mundane stuff, just have that you can like click on it, like allow it like a link that for those nerds that want to see what specific. Maybe it is just a bunch of little tweaks. I still want to know because I think AI arguably is one of the things that needs work. You know. Just to make it a little less predictable.
Yeah, what did you do if the last point was just like make AI great again or something like that?
Like, or not like the other game with Germany where I don't know what Game Genie tactic it used, but that was crazy. 250 science, like, come on.
Oh, yeah.
What's going on? What's going on here? It's 180. What is going on here?
Don't worry, guys. The AI is either going to completely stomp on you, or they're just going to build Viking longboats and lakes for no good reason for the entire game. And
Don't worry. I am going to investigate how this AI works for everyone in the community. I'm going to make a super in-depth video of how AI works, and specifically how AI works in Civilization. I'm going to email their devs, and I'm going to get an answer for every single person who's in this podcast right now. So don't you worry. I got your back. Okay? I'm going to figure this out. We're going to figure this out together. And there's going to be a video. Give me 3 weeks. 3 weeks. 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Yes.
Yeah.
You'll get that.
They do that again in the UI thing too, right?
Yeah, governors assigned.
Various UI bug fixes in Polish. Thanks. You are overwhelming me with your details.
I bet there was a pixel out of place in the sea in Civilization that they fixed. Oh, thank gosh. Good polish. That's probably not actually true. But yeah, governors assigned to a city-state are now displayed in the city-states panel. Cool. Fixed an issue that caused map selection to break. I wonder what the issue was, but thank you, I guess. And then various bug UI fixes in Polish. I don't know.
Do you know what is not here? It's not fixing the console stuff.
No, they did. That's part of it. That is part of it. They did say that was part of it, but they introduced. I saw a new bug that the crossplay between Mac and PC dead. So
really,
yeah, it doesn't work. So they said they're working with Asper right now to fix the crossplay between Mac and Windows. Mac and Linux can play together, but it can't be Mac and Windows or Linux and Windows. That's where the issue comes up. So we're gonna have to, for now, limit our community day to Windows users only. So sorry.
No, that's sad face. I
Yeah.
think Vector Cat, you're gonna have to go and I don't know, sell a kidney and get a PC. And
Boot camp. Boot camp
yeah,
that.
boot camp. Is that an option? Can
It's
you?
you can dual boot your Mac to Mac and PC, so you can have a Windows partition. You can have a Windows machine on your Mac, so you can launch Windows and play in Windows, which is actually what I think he does now. So maybe it'll be okay. Maybe he can still participate. We'll see, right? Who wants to go through miscellaneous stuff?
So the one thing I think is kind of cool is like adding the bias for starting in the center of a continent if you don't share it with other majors, which is kind of interesting, right? So Zoe,
Yeah,
you won't be able to start on the sea. You'll just start in the middle of nowhere and find the sea if you're on a continent by yourself, which I am sure will happen in the future. So
I wonder if that will help solve the Maori problem a little bit more. Like if it
Not in
forces
Europe.
them
Not in Europe,
to
but-
start not in Europe, but like start in a continent that is in water and they're in the middle of that continent, or if that'll have no effect whatsoever.
and then I don't know what they mean by fixing balanced start positions, choosing invalid placements.
Yeah,
That-
that might be Maori.
That might be like Maori making sure they start in the ocean, except for like on the custom Europe map, because I think that's more of the modders' fault, but maybe intention at the same time. Yeah, it's just like when I played, for example, Inca, and I had no mountains. That would be a great example of fixing a balanced start position, choosing invalid placement. That was a very
Right.
invalid placement.
Yeah, that's
Right.
kind of crazy.
So that's got to be a part of that example. And then they fix some crashes as well, additional crash fixes, thanks. And fix crash when forming a corpse in the unit that is joining is not on the map. I've never had that experience before. But that is all the patch notes. This is weird. They added Venice, did they not?
Yeah, I don't see it
I
here.
don't see it
I
here.
don't see it there either.
Weird. Let's see if I can find it. City, state, Civ 6. No. Okay. Well,
Okay. Well, maybe that's part of various AI improvements.
maybe it's rumored.
Maybe.
It is rumored that it's going to replace one of the trade city states that currently exist, because it's going to be a new civilization. For example, if they take out Lisbon, then maybe there's going to be a Portugal civilization in September. Oh.
I hope it is Portugal, and I'm really liking the train of thought that it's like trade and fortresses, trade and fortifications. I think that'd be really cool, especially that one I threw toward the if your lighthouse could get like a city wall. I think that'd be
Your harbor?
that'd be pretty awesome.
Harbor
Your harbor, yeah.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
That'd be kinda cool, yeah.
That would be cool. Are they known for their lighthouses, or just known for their harbors?
They're known
right?
trade networks and their fortifications. They knew how to take over and like there's, I don't know if you'd call it a historic conspiracy theory, that like they secretly were able to occupy, or like they took over a bunch of the Caribbean or something long before, like a couple years before the other European powers really knew what was going on. I read that somewhere. Maybe Nystagmus can confirm or deny that.
I can look into it. I doubt it's true.
All right.
Like we would have like
his doubts.
People would brag about it, basically, right? Like there would be evidence, right, that they were there.
I
right?
think there is, but I think it's like shady empire. It's like shady, like not enough confirmed information.
We know that the Vikings made it to Canada in around 1100. Like they're like barrier mounds, like in Canada.
Vikings like Norwegians, or Vikings like
Vikings, like from Scandinavia and stuff.
Yeah. Norway.
They
Nailed
yeah,
it. Right on.
they reached like Newfoundland and Labrador around like 1100. There's like evidence of it though. Like we found evidence of it.
Okay.
And carbon dated their burial mounds to that time.
Hmm.
And so like Venice like built like this massive navy. Like why would they go to the Caribbean and not build anything? Right? Like they just go there and be like, look, palm trees, and they go back. They didn't do anything about it. Right? Like there's also another theory that Egyptians crossed the Atlantic Ocean to form like the Mayan and Aztec empires because they all built
Oh
pyramids,
yeah, I heard that too. Yeah, I've heard that.
right? So someone like did an experiment and they made a boat that the ancient Egyptians might have been able to build, and it did cross the Atlantic. So it's like it's one of those like technically possible but probably didn't happen kind of thing. There are enough differences in Mayan and Aztec culture to Egyptian culture. Actually, a ton of differences that would warrant not thinking that they're the same culture.
And like,
Um,
isn't there something in nature that's like where two species can be totally separate and just like they end up evolving very very similarly?
You know,
If that's
do you know what the origin of that is?
what
You're gonna like this one. Aliens.
aliens? No. It's called there's a biological term for it that it's like
Hey.
they're not related at all. They just happen
do you want to
to
know how old I am?
evolve in a very similar way.
How
I'm
are
old
you?
enough to remember when the History Channel talked about bloody history. It didn't talk about freaking ancient aliens and all this other
Yeah,
like.
I remember
trash,
that.
right?
I
Like,
remember those days. I'm not saying it's aliens, but it was aliens.
Aliens.
right? Like every single time they're just like, is it possible? Maybe. Like that's like their whole thing. It's like we're gonna base this whole thing on conjecture. Like,
How are the pyramids
like
built? It must have been alien technology. It makes no sense.
I think generally speaking, when they say that, when they just say, well, we don't know how they did it, and just because we don't know how someone did it doesn't mean they couldn't do it. I think we're underestimating our own fellow human beings' ingenuity, right? We're underestimating how we all like to think like until like the Enlightenment, everyone was just like a bunch of idiots that didn't know anything about math or anything like that. But like, honestly, they probably did, and they built like they had abilities and enough manpower to do it, to build things like that. And so I don't think just assuming because something's like grand in ancient world, oh, it's too sophisticated for them. I'm like, well, think about it this way. If aliens came by and they're mastered interstellar travel, what's their big move? Let's make a pyramid. That's their big move.
They
right?
showed it though. They showed it in Stargate. It was so they could land their ship. Hello, like clearly it was a port. Okay, like, it makes sense. It really, when you think about
Right.
it, like
Their big move is we're going to build a pile of rocks shaped as a pyramid that has nothing to do with anything other than the cultural significance to the Egyptians, and that's how we're going to like leave our mark. And I also like to think like how they like to think like, oh, aliens. Their big move also was, hey man, how are the humans going to think we built this in 10,000 years? Right? It's gonna baffle them, and it's gonna be a big practical joke because we have nothing better to do. Right? Like, think about if we mastered interstellar travel. Will we go to an ancient civilization at the time of the Egyptians and be like, let's just build the pyramids? Why? Why not?
Why not?
It's
would
cool.
would
All
we
the cool aliens
maybe
are doing it. Like,
maybe we wouldn't, but there could be some like jokesters out there. Like, wouldn't it be hilarious if that's what we did? Yeah, let's do it. I don't know. Like, if you had a spaceship, this is like say 600-700 years in the future, and you want to be an asshole, I could see some people doing that.
Look, you go
Like,
back. You go back
for
to your,
shits and giggles.
You go back to your homeland. You tell your kids like, "Hey kids, with all your tentacle little lips,
But
like, hey kids,
wouldn't
look
it
at
be-
look at Earth over there. Look what I built on Earth over there. You see
but
those
if you're
pyramids?"
if you're an expansionist species, wouldn't you do what like humans would do? I don't believe humans would build pyramids just to be jerks. I think they would strip mine the planet. Right? Like you would take resources because that's what you need, right? Why would you build pyramids and then be like, here you go, guys, it's a gift. What do we owe you? Nothing. Don't worry about it. When we come back in 10,000 years.
Speaking of coming back, let's go take a break. and let's come back. And
that was the book of digression. Book of digression there.
And let's take a break and let's come back and let's answer some fan questions. I like this segment a lot, so let's keep this one going. Hopefully through every episode. We'll be right. We'll be right back.
That escalated quickly.
Welcome back to the TheCivShow podcast, where we suck so you don't need to. Changed it up there. Sorry, Nystagmus. I know. Damn. Just need to keep it interesting. No, need to keep it fresh. Need to introduce some new things into the podcast room. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Oh, I know. So let's get some questions from the community. I gathered all of the best resources in our Discord. If you haven't joined it, you should join it now. Be in the show notes. Let's get started, shall we? What is the best early game civilization from ancient to medieval era? Anywhere in there. Not necessarily like the progression from ancient to medieval, but just anywhere within that era period. Who do you think the best early game civilization is? I'll start. They're also one of my favorites. The Aztec. I think the Aztec are really good. They have their Eagle Warriors right off the bat, super cheap, really, really good as well. Easy to take over city-states and expand your empire that way. Easy to take over your neighbors and expand your empire that way. Also, their builders being able to just use their charges to use your builders to produce your districts. That's what I'm trying to get at here. So you can make your districts produce a lot faster, or you can produce them a lot faster. That is not an easy sentence to think of on the spot. My God. But you can use your builders for districts. That's really good. And you can get your empire set up so much faster than everybody else's, and also be bigger than everybody else's before they can get established at all, since you're taking over those city-states and you're taking over your neighbors. Aztecs. Really good. Thanks. Yep.
Sure, I get most of their bonuses early, and their bonuses are relevant. I love the Kree for that. I love that pottery unlocks their special building. I love that pottery gives you a extra trade route, and right away you're able to claim territory using your trade route. And that +1 trade route, you're going to have like 2 or 3. You get the 4th really quickly, which is a trigger for exploration. And I just find that rolls really well into alliances, and by that time, you know, you're going to have some friends if you play your cards right. So I think Kree is a fantastic early game
Kree's good.
and
I would
beyond.
agree with you. And like, hey, look at that! You're playing the Kree right now. Look, wow.
I know. There's no bias there.
No bias whatsoever. I didn't know they got
No
a trade route at
bias.
Pottery, but now that you mentioned
They get
it,
a trade route, a free trade route with and like a trader,
And it's free
trade route
land
and a
for
trader.
Kree
It's
too.
free land, and you can use that strategically to take over key areas. And once a trade route is completed, like if it's close, not only does it expand further, but it means that if it's close, like you're going to get it back sooner, right? I think 12 turns for one that's fairly close. So fantastic.
Stagmus.
So my thing is a little bit, I think the same thing, snowball into the future. But I think one that's really interesting, especially if you're able to play defensively enough, get your cities and stuff like that, is that thing that can snowball is if you're the Mayans and able to establish like your ring city like empire basically, because you get all the bonuses, and that can easily snowball into the future. And those archers really help you build that defensive posture to get that done. And so that's my favorite kind of early game civ for that. The build it out. You get those archer right away. Build that kind of like that special. I think you get 12 cities, which is a fine number of cities. And if you can get that ring going, and with that bonus, then you can kind of roll with it, and it kind of carries you forward into the rest of the game.
They are a really good civilization. So that's who I'm playing.
It's a good choice.
This week. During my practice game, it was a way better scenario because I didn't have any coast and I had so many plantations. If you guys keep going east in that Europe map, you see so many plantation spots. That's kind of where I was as the Maya. I was over there, and there was so much science to be had with all those +2 plantations, and I'm so mad at it. I have 1 plantation this game. Pisses me off, man. But they are a good civilization. They're up there with one of my favorites. All of the ancient era civs seem to be my favorite. I enjoy, but the quote unquote lore, because I don't know the historical aspect to all the indigenous tribes in the ancient era civilizations, but I also just think they're fun to play.
Yeah. I find they're generally really versatile, and
I think the reason why is the later game civs are pretty like monolithic in the early game, right? Like they all basically look like each other up until they get to their era that they are, based around, and then they have their own kind of features. And so they still have like their own features, like, Germany will have the Hansa and stuff like that, and the bonuses against city states. So it changes your tactics, but aesthetically and also how the cities like interact with each other and the bonuses and stuff, it seems very much similar. All the late ones. So like when you're playing like America or Germany or what a couple of other late game civs,
Australia,
Canada, very much like similar to each other, playing up until you get like to the modern era when they kind of like have their special units and stuff like that. So maybe that's the reason why, like, because then right from the early game when you play these civs, like there's something different. There's something.
It's like a guaranteed boost almost because they get it right away, versus like the other ones you have to survive for that long.
Generally you just survive, right, and do that, which you can. Like when I was playing Germany and I went up against Moya as the Aztecs, I was able to fight off those Eagle Warriors.
That was impressive as hell. Yeah.
And so like you can do it, but it seems more. I'm playing as like a generic civilization, and you're playing as like this, one that has special units and stuff at that same time, right? And so I guess that's why. So
next question. Which civ would you like to see an alternate leader for in the future?
Who wants that one first? I'll take it.
I had it, and I lost it.
I'll give you a second to find it. I would like to see an alternative leader for Canada, and I think it'd be cool if it was Pierre Elliott Trudeau.
Oh, okay.
So right now Laurier's bonus is the Tundra one, right? So it's all about getting the North and all that stuff. So I think Trudeau's would be like something like Just Watch Me. And it would be something to do with policy cards, and maybe like they get an extra policy diplomatic card or something like that. and some other thing that involves, I don't know, multiculturalism or something like that. I don't know. So I'd like to see something with Trudeau and not the Canadian North stereotype, and something more about governance, the Parliament of Dreams style of Canada. And then, of course, the Canadian bonus of can't declare war, you mix that in there. So I think that'd be cool.
Nystagos, do you have one? I have one, but yeah, I'll let you go first if you have one.
I had like a couple ideas basically, and I was gonna say a Canada one, but I was
I think
kind
it's
of
different
natural.
leader,
It's
though?
natural. It's natural. For
And
us to say
I'll
that.
go on to a different one. But I was thinking definitely a different leader for Germany. I don't consider Frederick really like a German leader per se. Like, there's a lot of complicated parts of German history because Germany as a concept really didn't exist until the 1860s.
With Bismarck.
And so I would like to see like Otto von Bismarck come back onto the fray, or you can even make the argument maybe for like Wilhelm the first to make an appearance as an alternative leader. Although I put my money more on Otto von Bismarck. He was literally the architect of modern day Germany, and so I just would like to have one that's a little bit more in line with how much history is involved. The Holy Roman Empire can like technically be its civ in its own right.
Right.
I don't like the idea of like Germany can take over city states. That's a very Holy Roman Empire thing and not really associated with what we would consider as what Germany is.
Right, which would have really been uniting city states, right?
Yeah.
That's like provinces, right? Germany was like a bunch of province states.
And so I think like that would be like my number one there, is kind of change that out. I didn't really like Frederick becoming like the German leader. That was kind of weird to me.
I think you're probably very internally triggered when you saw that. You're like, whoa.
Because the Holy Roman Empire is kind of like this entity that people like to call upon, but it's very poorly understood as an entity itself, right? Like, you know, the main principality that was really powerful within it later on was Prussia, right? Prussia is what became like generally how the country of Germany organized itself. But as a concept, the Holy Roman Empire, like I said, the joke is that the Holy Roman Empire is very famously not Roman, not holy, and not an empire. And so,
oh, wait. Did I lose both
entity.
Well, no. Oh my gosh, what? What did you say? Repeat that.
Really?
Not holy, not Roman, not an empire. What was after that?
Yeah. You know,
I heard him.
It's not the same as I did. It's not holy, not Roman, not an empire, and it was a really complicated political system that that occurred in Central Europe after the fall of the Roman Empire, and so it's kind of like, to say that it's related to Germany, it's more related to Germany tangentially, and it's really kind of like a strange way of making that connection because they really didn't have a whole lot in common with each other.
That's a good one. I feel like that one's a really strong contender. Mine. Honestly, there's only so much history I know. I'm not a historian in any way like you guys are. You guys know a lot more than I do. I am more modern age technical person. You guys are more way back when. So basically I'm restricted to like my knowledge. My knowledge only goes from, Egypt, Rome, Greece. So like that's all I know. So it has to be one of those. So Greece already has two leaders, so I'm not going to touch Greece, and plus I think they're great leaders to begin with. Rome, with Trajan, I understand probably why they went with Trajan instead of Caesar, what they normally do, because they wanted a new face to Rome. So I respect that, and I'm not going to touch that one either. It's because Caesar's in every game almost, so like I can respect that he's not in this game. So that only leaves Egypt, and you have Cleopatra, one of the most famous queens of our time, air quotes, our time. But there is another person in the Egyptian history that is just as well known, and that is King Tut. And so,
King Tut.
Yeah, King Tut. Why not?
I thought you were going to say Ramses.
Ooh.
I thought you were gonna say
Ooh.
Ramses.
I don't know.
King
if I
Tut
agree
was like a
with this one.
16-year-old or something like that. Like
Exactly.
You
he's
know-
only famous because his tomb wasn't raided until
Yeah.
they found it.
The reason why he's so
Exactly.
famous is that he was so inconsequential that he was the only tomb that wasn't raided, and so that's why we know about him. Everyone
Yeah.
else was raided because they were important. He was
Oh
not
crap!
important.
That's the only one I
whatsoever.
knew. So like, no, I'm in trouble. Now.
I
Okay,
thought
hold
you were
on,
gonna say
time out,
Ramses.
time out.
I was like, Ramses would be a cool Egyptian king.
Oh, just take me out of this
Thank you,
podcast. Why
boy.
am I? What am I
Tutankhamun,
doing
everybody.
here? Oh,
Tutankhamun. What would they even show? They'd be like this. It'd be like this 15-year-old invalid because I think he had some sort of spine issue. I think.
Yeah, he was.
Um,
He died. He died very young.
Like
Okay, we're just gonna do it. Okay, his ability is that he is.
You lose the game immediately.
No, he starts off as a mummy, and when you kill his capital, he's not actually dead, and he takes over one of your other cities. That's it. That's the ability. Whatever. We're just gonna do it, and you can't argue with me because
it should be the Sphinxes can't get plundered until the modern era.
until they find
That's
it.
his,
Or
that's
all of
his
his
special
wonders,
power.
all of his
and they can
wonders
only
are
be plundered
hidden.
by the British.
That is it.
They can only be plundered by the British. That's what.
Yeah.
What if it was you don't know what his
Good
capital
work,
is? What if
boy.
you
No,
don't
that
know-
was perfect.
No.
It was
New
a
plan.
good
You
choice.
don't know what his city, his capital is until you get it. So
Until
like
you
you
get
kind of
it.
have to take all of his cities until you eventually find his capital. And then we found his capital. We know he exists.
Except when someone
up,
attacks you early in the game, you only have 2 cities.
Shut up.
It's perfect, boy. It's perfect.
Trying my best.
So moving on.
Moving on.
Which leader would you want as your college roommate in a 4-person leaders in a 4-person apartment? So I guess it's you and 3 other leaders.
Okay, it's almost like honestly kind of the similar one where we went to a bar. It's like kind of those guys. Those guys seem
It's kind of
So,
But, okay.
Teddy,
Teddy. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Gilgamesh would be kind of awesome to hang out with.
Wasn't even a question.
Yeah. And then who would be the third to round that one out? You got to have someone pretty low key to round out that rambunctious group of people. So I would go with Laurier, just as like the academic person who can kind of like, because if it's Teddy and Gilgamesh, things are going to get pretty crazy. For anything, you need someone to help clean up the apartment after whatever parties they keep having. And so yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Those 3 guys.
I would definitely take Gilgamesh because he would come home with 2 ladies, but he's very friendly and loves his friends, so he'd give you 1. Like that's the kind of the guy Gilgamesh is, man. And I feel like he's a bro. Gilgamesh, I agree.
So just to reiterate though, like a free consent, right? Like
yes,
you're making it feel like they just give
of
you a
course,
person.
Everybody's in on the plan. Everybody's 100%. Sorry. Wow. Okay. Didn't mean to go there. Okay, so let me think of the other 2 off the top of my head. Let's go with Trajan because he's a great wingman to Caesar. Great wingman. And then let's.
Wait, did you say he was a wingman to Caesar?
Wasn't he not? Wasn't he his general?
Caesar was dead for like 100 years.
God damn it! I don't know anything. Oh, why am I on the show?
Trajan was emperor like around like 100 something, right? Like Caesar, like he was even born when Caesar was around. Like, yeah, he was a great general though. He got that part right. Like.
I'm just hanging my hands in shame, right? Or head in shame in my hands.
You mean so the wingman for Caesar would be Mark Antony?
Okay,
but he wasn't a great wingman because they kind of like
didn't they collide? Like
they betrayed each other and tried to kill each other.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So
okay, whatever. I'm taking Trajan, and then you need the life of the party, so I'm just taking Montezuma. Don't argue me. I don't care.
That's fine.
Wild man. Go. So
don't say
get this off
just
of
don't,
me.
just don't say he was like the wingman of like Teddy or something like that. It's like I
Nah, it'd be like, hey, Montezuma, that guy's looking at me funny. He's like, don't worry, I got him, boss.
For me, it'd be Gandhi, Cleopatra, and I'd break the rules and go with Abe Lincoln, and then I'd watch the drama between Abe and Joan of Arc because Abe doesn't realize Joan of Arc is in love with her, but he loves Cleopatra, and it'd just be great. It'd be a great show, and Gandhi's there for comic relief. So that's what I'd choose.
Gandhi's a good
And that's
one. I like
and
that
that's
one.
certainly not a premise for a show that was out like 20 years ago called Clone High.
Yeah, I was wondering. I was like, wait, that sounds like a premise of a show. I
Sounds
remember.
like a premise of a show. I love
The
that
funny-
show. Clone High was great.
The funniest character of that entire show
John
was
F. Kennedy.
JFK.
Yeah, JFK.
JFK's like this like football playing jock, and he just like, and it was actually a pretty decent show, to be honest.
Good show. Clone High, ladies and gentlemen. Look it up. Good show.
If you could have one fictional civ in the game, what would it be? So an example of this, so this isn't my choice, but the example of this would be like the dwarves from Lord of the Rings. So like completely fantasy, or whatever word Zoe uses, I don't remember, for like the vampires and stuff. Sorry.
I already know.
All right, go.
The Atlanteans.
Yeah, the Atlanteans would be an easy one.
Yeah.
Sick.
For sure.
Flying machines and stuff.
And they can settle cities in the water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would build cities in the water.
Yes.
They'd have I think they'd have like crazy tech too. Like
Boy.
they'd have.
Take this question and run with it. You can't get the history wrong.
Yeah, boy.
But now I'm struggling. Like, what do I pick? What do I pick?
You can't get the history of this one wrong.
I can't. Just watch me. You're putting me on the spot. You can't do this to me. Hold on. So you go next.
You want me to go next? All right. One fictional civ in the game. What would it be?
Because I'm trying to think of one too. Right?
Yeah. Like it's like how far fetched can I be?
Dude.
It can be anything. It can be anything. Okay. Let's.
You could say like Genovia from Princess Diaries.
Well, that's the one that you wanted was Genovia from Princess Diaries.
That's a good one.
I'm trying to think of like a mythical civilization. Like Atlantis is obviously an easy one. I don't know. How about Quebec?
Troy.
Fiction?
No, that's bad. I don't want to make
I got
anybody
one.
angry.
It's just gonna be completely ridiculous, but whatever. I don't care because I don't need to know the history on this one, so it's okay. I'm just gonna pick Harry Potter and like that world to bring it in here. Get some wizards. Get your capital with Hogwarts, and you have all the little other like you have Gryffindor over there, and you have Slytherin in the other house, and you got like.
Is that your idea? Is that your idea to replace the Hermetic Order?
Yes, that would be way better. That would be way better. Look at that.
That would be good for them, right? Yeah, we fixed it.
Like, oh, come
we
on,
gave them wizards. we gave them wizards. They're fixed. I would choose Predator.
Ooh,
Predator.
Yo.
Yeah, that they as the civil, and their whole thing would be more. They just visit every now and then and screw with us.
And when they kill people, they evolve just like the vampires do. But it's all of their units.
Or they would they would use us for sport, and they'd like lay aliens in us and stuff for fun. And then hunt the aliens. So every now and then they just appear. They turn a city into like a barbarian spawning ground with these aliens, and then their thing is just getting points and going and killing the aliens. But the aliens have a chance of converting the entire planet to aliens.
All right, so I'm gonna change my answer to Planet of the Apes.
Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
All right. That'd be cool. Like hominids, War of the Hominids.
Yeah. I'm going to change it to them. I think that'd be cool. Next question. If you could be the leader of any civilization, which one would you lead? That's a tough question because now it's like, what do you culturally align with too? So my microphone keeps falling, so like, don't mind me. But
we don't culturally align with any. Some of these civilizations, ancient times, right? So like,
that's true. But I think I kind of most culturally align with the Maori. I like their stance that to leave the things the way they are and to not industrialize anything. Like I understand, like it's kind of where we are today, and computers came from it, blah blah blah. But if I didn't know any of that existed, I wouldn't have to depend on any of it. So I would just live my life by the water, on the beach, fishing away, surfing away, living my life, the best life. And then I would, yeah, I would just
Until
fly
the
to New
age,
Zealand, and that would be it.
until the age of 35. And then,
Die
until the
here.
age
Whatever, man.
of
I lived a
35.
happy 35 years. That's all. I don't care. Maori.
until you're,
I would pick Maori.
until you're less than a year from turning 35.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. That's a pretty hard question. I think I would probably choose one that I would want to learn more about because we know very little about it.
Okay.
And so I would probably go with something like the Mayan
Mm.
culture, just because unfortunately their like golden age occurred prior to European contact, and the Mayans actually weren't like an empire like the Aztecs were. They were more of like a collection of tribes,
Yeah.
and so there's like we know quite a bit of it, but because they kind of collapsed prior to European contact, and a lot of the things about them were lost. It's one of the most sophisticated civilizations we know the least about, right? Like they were they knew a lot about mathematics, astronomy, and everything. We know that, but we don't know like how they came to do that. We still don't know how they kind of did it. And so that'd be kind of cool to be the leader of like the Mayans and see kind of experience that, I guess. Assuming I can also go back to my own time and then tell
And then tell us all about it.
the tale.
You gotta live a long
Um,
time, or you're time traveling, I guess. So yeah.
Yeah, that was the whole idea.
Okay.
I think
Or I could be the Highlander and just like live forever. And
Oh, we lost him as soon as he was gonna answer. Oh no. I wonder if he's gonna pick. Oh, never mind. Okay, he's back. You're back. You're back. Okay.
I want to be Gilgamesh because I would live on for the ages. Okay, like Gilgamesh, literally the Iliad. Like like this man will never die. The legend of Iliad will go on, and then I could also worship Zool, and that would be fun.
And then come to all the college parties with us. Like, come
Zool,
on.
yeah, absolutely that too. I'd be going around a war wagon. Like that just seems so awesome. The idea of it's like a tank, an ancient tank.
Yeah.
That'd be fun to roll up on.
Hey, babe, I got my
and
war
then-
wagon parked out outside. Why don't you come on by later?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Gilgamesh, I think, to stand the test of time.
Last question before we end. This is some kind of a more serious question. 4-player free-for-all. Okay. Mapuche, Aztec, Scythia, and Norway all take Sanguine Pact. They all have vampires.
Is that a question?
Who wins?
Oh,
Aztec.
Why?
They're just like they can just have the ability to steamroll people early on.
I think the Mapuche, because when they pillage, you get disloyalty, and vampires are all about pillaging. You just go around their cities, pillage like crazy. You're healing, so they're unstoppable. Like you have to do like a minimum of 51 damage just to harm them in a single go. Vampires. So I think Vampire Mapuche would be kick-ass.
Okay, since you picked Mapuche, I'll go with Norway. Because they get the bonus. They get
Pillage
bonus
yields,
yields
yeah.
whenever they pillage, and then if you pair that with the card of like more bonus, then it's not necessarily use the vampires to take over the cities, but it's use the vampires to pillage and increase your yields that way. So then you can increase your science, increase your culture, increase your gold, yada 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 yada. So you don't even have to have that many cities, but your yields are incredible because you're just going around and you're pillaging all the available land that you can. So I'll take Norway. I'll take Norway just because you guys chose something a little bit different. So
Do we have time?
Words?
Do we have a time for a chat question?
If
Anyone in the chat have a question?
chat has a question, they
Be saucy.
may have questions. But in the meantime, let's talk about our YouTube. Let's talk about our YouTube. Nystagmus,
So, everyone, I guess anyone doesn't know, I do a series on our YouTube channel called Better Know a Leader. So far, I've done Surf with Laurier and I've done Coupe from the Maori. I announced like at the game last time, but I'll reiterate the next episode is going to be Robert the Bruce of Scotland. And so that's the kind of next leader I'm going to be doing. So be on the lookout for that. I'm going to be trying to get it out by early next week. Yeah, tune in.
And our new video, Humankind versus Civilization, where we break down the biggest differences between the two franchises, and if Humankind is really the civilization killer that it's sought out to be. That is currently on there, and you should go and check that out if you haven't already. We have one question from the chat.
All that
from Candy Red. One game mechanic you would like to add or remove. What would it be?
Let me lead the way with it. There's one that I've long thought would be great, and that is logistics, like military logistics, like make it more complex, or city logistics, like supplies between cities, where at first it would be carrier messages would be the way to do it, and then eventually telegraphs, and then something like that. So something to do with logistics and transferring of information back and forth, and set it up in a way that is relevant to the game beyond roads, like actual communication between cities. I think that would be really cool.
A game mechanic I'd like them to add, kind of like how they've, when you go through all the different Civ games from like 1, 2, 3, 4 and stuff, and 4 they introduced religions. They kind of played on that front. I'd like them to add corporations, something like to that can help with wealth, but whether or not it may push you in certain directions for like civics or something like that, because kind of like lobbying and consolidation of corporate power of some kind. I think that'd be kind of a cool dynamic to kind of play with in the Civilization game. I think it's one of the last things that they've yet to try to tackle.
Yeah, that was cool. Well, and I think that's just reading recently about Sid Meier's. So the philosophy of Civilization, you guys likely know, is that you do a third of old, a third improved, and a third of new. So you take the previous game, and when you make the new game, a third of it's going to be stuff that's from. So a third of Civ 6 should have been like basically Civ 5 stuff and beyond, and earlier stuff. A third of it would be new and improved, so they just improved on existing things, and then a third of it is brand new. So it may just be that they just don't have room with that philosophy in mind to bring something back like that, if they're true to that formula.
I would like them to add I know this Civilization gets a lot of flack, but in Civilization Beyond Earth, the tech tree was really, really different. So how it works now, obviously, it's kind of a linear, progressively system. In Beyond Earth, it was kind of like a web. So it was a circle, and you started in the middle, and you kind of expanded outward, but you can kind of go in any direction. But in order to get anything down below, you need to like really go down there, or to get anything above. So it gives you more freedom. It gives it more prerequisites as well to like progress through further. I think a more in-depth is what I'm trying to get at. Just a more in-depth, more complicated technology tree that isn't so linear. That would be my wish for a new mechanic. This last question I think is very easy to answer, so we'll answer it. Do you think the changes to amenities is a huge nerf to Scotland? I don't think so, personally. So I'll go into it. Because it nerfs everybody else, right? Scotland already focuses on building amenities, so they already want to have entertainment complexes. They want to have the golf courses, which gives them +2 amenities now instead of +1. So everyone else can now, it's harder for them to achieve a happy or ecstatic status, but for Scotland, it's still achievable and it's still their focus. And so they're already building these entertainment complexes. They're already building their golf courses. So for them to achieve a static is a lot easier. So they're going to get the buff for sure, but everyone else it's a lot harder. So they're not gonna get that buff. Plus, obviously, the great science points that comes out of it as well. That's my opinion.
Like it is a big deal. They made it that on average your cities it's going to be easier to keep them content, but that your happy city is going to be rarer. So that is a nerf. Adding 2 to the difficulty. However, I think you covered this. Even just that golf course bonus, you're going to get golf courses now. They give you 2 amenities, and there's amenities are easy. You can get amenities.
Well, what do you have
and now there's
golf course now? What was it, like Reformed Church or something like
it was something like Reformed Church, which is I don't know what's up with that. I'm sure there's a great, and we're gonna find out. Nystagmus is gonna tell us all about why golf courses and Reformed Church go hand in hand.
No, he's Robert the Bruce. He doesn't care about these damn golf courses or whatever. He doesn't care about them.
Literally the only Civ where you can say there's like stereotype like in the Civ for for Canada. It's like wait, Mounties and hockey. That's what they do.
Oh yeah,
right. That's all Canadians do.
Oh yeah.
Right, and then what we gotta do with Scotland? Golf courses, man. They gotta be able to build golf courses. That's like their thing.
Okay, I knew. That's all I know.
Now this is significant. Like displeased now, is 10% instead. So they have made the unhappiness much more severe. They've doubled it
instead of -10.
Yeah. But revolt is only -40 instead of -60. So that's significant too. And I've had, when I was trying to do last week's challenge, I had a period and I have a screenshot I'll share later. It was devastating for me because my economy was in negatives, and I don't know why. Like I did the math and I was like, it should be in the positives, but it wasn't. And my city started going in revolt, and they did nothing. And I had to basically click through a bunch of turns until a certain deal came to an end. But it was horrible. Now, at least in revolt, -40 is somewhat manageable. You're still building something.
I want to quickly give a shout out to the Sharkster for starting the challenge in our Discord.
Yeah.
So shout out to you, Sharkster. Thanks for doing that, buddy. If you haven't tried out our challenge, you should go and join our Discord, definitely, and try out Sharkster's challenge. Right now, it is to get the Hermetic Order with Sweden, Zulu, or Brazil. Nailed it. Get the Hermetic Order, and how fast can you get a victory, and on what difficulties. So that's the challenge right now. So shout out to Sharkster.
And I think he's got bonus points for different things. So he has some goals. He has some goals to set. So I'm giving it a go. I like these challenges. The last one was hard. I'm not gonna lie. It reminds me of I have many games of Civ that I don't finish.
Yes.
We're just like, this is taking too long. This is the grind.
Don't we all?
Yeah.
But be sure to follow us on all of our social medias. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Spotify, which is probably where you're listening to this right now, at TheCivShow.
And if you're looking for the more intimate connection, join us on our Discord. Always interesting conversations where we challenge intellect and, figure stuff out together. So really great community, lots of great conversations. Check out our Discord for sure.
And always, if you want to hear my newest video on Better Know Leader, any videos that Moya or Zoe also create as well on our YouTube channel, always link and subscribe. And next video should be coming out early next week. But check out the other 2 Better Know Leaders already there, Silver with Laurier and Coupe of the Maori. And then always check out our comparison of humankind and civilization. It's actually a pretty good video. It gives a really good overview. I liked it a lot.
Hey, thanks. Appreciate that.
Go check it out,
man.
Not really, but I worked really hard on it. No, I always work hard on my things. I'm just kidding. Anyways, we will see you guys in the next episode of the Civ Show. That'll be Sunday.
Sunday! If you're not there, you better be dead!
Sunday, August the 30th. And if you're not there, then yes, you better be dead.
Don't actually be dead, though, please. For liability reasons, it's the ocean that kills you.
Don't actually be dead, yeah. All right, guys, we'll see you later.
Good night.
Bye.